All right.
Thank you. You all may be seated. And Ms. Geiger, if you would you please raise your right hand for this rule? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Bishop?
Thank you. Could you tell us your name, please?
Karen Geiger.
And you're Amber's mom, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
66. I'll be 67 in February.
Does Amber have any siblings?
And she's 2.
Can you tell us who they are?
Her older sister is Alana, and she has a younger brother, another brother. Alana's the oldest, and then I have a son. His name's David. He's a David.
Go ahead.
And Amber was the youngest.
So you have just 3 children, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did Amber grow up?
In Arlington, Texas.
Were all 3 kids fathered by the same man?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's his name?
Bill William.
And are y'all still together?
No.
How old about was Amber when you and Bill separated?
I guess when she was about 5 or 6.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. Geiger, I'm going to show you 2 photographs that have been marked as defense exhibits, number 95 and 96. Are those photos of your 3 kids in 95 and then a photo of your family in 96?
Yes. Yeah.
Defense 95 and 96, Your Honor.
No objection.
They're both in there.
Permission to publish the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Show you defense 95. Who is on the left here in this photo?
That's Alana.
And how old is she now?
She's 38.
And who is this here in the middle?
That's David.
And then this is Amber here.
Yes, ma'am.
About how old was Amber in this photo, do you recall?
I'd say she was in junior high. I'd forgotten.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think I know.
About
Trying to.
junior high.
Yeah. I think,
And then
yeah.
defense
And
exhibit
that's-
number 96.
And that's much later.
This is Amber in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
She's picked you up. That's you.
Mm.
And your son here. And then Alana, your daughter. And then, even though y'all aren't still together, this is the kid's dad, and that's Bill. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, even though y'all were separated, was Bill, excuse me, still present in Amber's life?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said Amber was around 5 when you and Bill separated?
Yes, ma'am. She was
And-
still young. She's young.
In 1995, when Amber was 6 years old, were you dating somebody?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall his name?
Joe.
Is that Joe Ortiz?
Yes, ma'am.
Would he stay at your house on occasion?
Yes, ma'am.
On February 25th, 1995, Amber would have been 6 years old, is that right?
Approximately. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yeah.
On
Yes,
that
ma'am.
morning, did you learn that Joe had been sexually molesting her?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, did you call the Arlington Police Department to your house that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
recall speaking with an Officer Smith with the Arlington Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain what you saw that morning that caused you to confront Joe?
I was going back to the bedroom. I was fixing to take a shower, and I forgot my comb. And that's when I saw him coming out of the bedroom, and then Amber came out.
And as a result of some conversation that you had with Joe and also with Amber, the police were summoned to your house, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Joe eventually arrested for indecency with a child, with Amber being the named victim?
Yes, ma'am.
He ended up pleading guilty on that case, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of child Amber was?
She was sweet. She loved going outside all the time, and she made friends real quick.
What elementary school did she go to?
Louise Planton.
Is that in Arlington?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she play any musical instruments when she was growing up?
She played when she was young in when she was going to Blatton, she picked up the violin, and she played the violin.
About what grade was that she started playing the violin?
They started that in grade school, and she continued on into junior high school. And into, she stayed with it. She loved the violin. She loved playing the violin.
She continued playing through high school?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, did she also play with a mariachi band?
Yes, ma'am.
While she was in high school, did Amber work?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall where that was?
She started working into, I remember the earliest, I think, she worked at the mall at Stephen Barry's. Later on, she got a job working at Fridays at the airport. And she worked there. She worked her way good through school. She went to Tarrant County, and she worked at the airport to help pay for school.
Did she always work hard and try to help support herself?
Yes, ma'am.
And help you as much as she could?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Amber go to college for a while?
Yes, ma'am.
And why was it that she stopped her courses there in college?
She was so excited when she found out that I wanted her to. She was almost done. She was in her junior year, and she found out that there was a spot in the academy, and she said, "Mom, if I don't take it now, I may lose my chance." So she went on to applied for the school to go to be a police officer.
Had she always expressed an interest in law enforcement when she was growing up?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What was one of the things that she did while she was in high school with law enforcement?
She started in grade school when she was still in grade school, the DARE program, and she loved to watch anything that had to do with the police work.
You said she was interested in the DARE program?
Yes, ma'am.
That was when she was in elementary?
Yes, and they would always have the programs, to help children, get interested in a career. That they had a passion for it. She had a passion for it, and it continued on to high school, and she went on the ride-alongs.
The ride-alongs?
Uh-huh.
And that was with which police department?
Arlington did that.
And have you got a medical condition?
I have, yes, ma'am.
What's that?
I have pulmonary fibrosis.
Is that something that Amber helped you?
She's always worried about me. So she worries about me.
Does she help take care of you and help you with your medications and things like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Geiger, after the shooting on September 6, 2018, did you get a call from Amber?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes, ma'am. After the shooting on September 6th, 2018, did you receive a call from Amber?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe what she sounded like?
I had trouble understanding her.
Why is that?
She was crying.
Can you explain how she's reacted since the situation of knowing that she's killed an innocent man?
She was very upset. I couldn't understand her. When she first told me, I couldn't understand her because she was crying so hard.
Since that time until now, what have you seen as far as her remorse for accidentally going into this wrong apartment and shooting this man?
She wanted to take his place. She always would tell me she wished she could take in his place. She feels very bad about it. She feels very bad about it. She feels bad about it.
Thank you, Ms. Geiger. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Geiger. No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Geiger. You may be excused.
Okay.
Can you just wait just a second so that we can get you some assistance?
Okay.
I don't want you to fall, okay?
Okay.
Ms. Geiger, let me help you down, okay?
You can make yourself comfortable.
Oh, thank you.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
May I proceed?
Yes, please.
State your name, please, and spell your name for the court reporter.
Alana Guyger, Alana Guyger.
How old are you, Ms. Geiger?
I'm 37.
And could you tell the jury how you're employed?
I work for On the Border. I'm a server.
All right. And you're the older sister of Amber Geiger, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How much older are you?
6 years.
Let me talk to you a little bit about growing up as the big sister in the house, where your parents separated at some point in time when you were children, is that right?
Yes, I was approximately 12.
Whose home did y'all, the three children, stay at primarily after that?
We stayed at our mom's house.
Okay. Staying there, did your mother work, or was she a stay-at-home mother?
She was a stay-at-home mother.
How was the family provided for financially?
My father provided for us financially.
After your parents were separated, did your father stay involved in you and Amber's and your brother's life?
Yes, he did.
How often would y'all see him?
About once a month, maybe, and on birthdays, and he would take us out, just him and the siblings.
Okay. As y'all got older, did you see him more often?
Yes.
Tell the jury what kind of little sister Amber was when y'all were small.
She was the little sister that I always looked up to. I've always admired her for being brave. She's outgoing. She just has this certain positive energy that everybody gravitates toward. They want to be her friend.
Okay. Did y'all, your house was pretty small that you grew up in, is that right?
It was probably just around 800, 900 square feet, I want to say.
Did you share a bedroom with Amber?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Can you tell us what Amber was like as a little girl?
Kind, bubbly, outgoing. She always wanted to be outside. I'm always trying to get her to play Barbies with me. We both shared the same musical interest. And Selena, the Spice Girls, Britney Spears, all the 90s pop bands like Backstreet Boys and such.
Did she follow that musical interest as she got older?
Definitely. We had all the posters, all the walls completely covered.
Did she enjoy playing music herself?
She did. She took up orchestra in junior high, and she played the violin, and then I believe it was her sophomore year of high school, she started playing the trumpet in the marching band.
When she was about 5 years old, there was a man named Mr. Ortiz that was arrested for molesting. You recall that?
Yes, it was a man that my mother was dating, and he touched her inappropriately on a few occasions.
Did you and Amber go through counseling after he was after that his behavior was discovered?
Yes, we went through counseling in Arlington for about 6 months. It was a program that was provided by the city.
How did Amber respond to that counseling?
She held a lot in, and she would only talk to me about it, what happened.
Was that her
But I think
personality?
the counseling, helped kind of bring out the feelings.
Was that her personality, the whole thing's in?
Yes, she doesn't like to upset those around her.
You eventually moved out of the house after you got out of high school.
I moved out and following graduation from high school and went to the University of North Texas.
Did you and Amber stay close to one another after you started college?
Yes, she always wanted to spend the night at my apartment on the weekends. And she had a key to a few of my apartments, and she would come over whenever she wanted to. My dad would drop her off, and we would watch movies together and do sister overnight fun stuff.
As she got out of high school, you recall Amber, what she was pursuing at that time when she graduated?
So can you repeat the question?
When Amber got out of high school, graduated from high school, what was her interest? What was she pursuing? What were her goals?
She wanted to be a police officer and obtain a criminal justice degree. She went to Tarrant County College to do her basics and then continued on at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Was she working full-time while she did that?
She has been working full-time, 40 hours per week or more since she was 16.
Do you know why Amber started working that hard that early?
She is very responsible. She's always wanted to be financially stable and put herself through school. She didn't want to take out any loans or have any debts.
What was, once Amber applied to the Dallas Police Department, was accepted, how did she respond to that?
She was so happy that she was going to be able to have a career where she could help others in need. And
After she became a Dallas police officer, were you able to stay in communication with each other and still able to meet on occasion?
yes, we would go out to dinner, meet up at restaurants with the family.
How close is your family?
We're very close.
Stay in a lot of communication with one another?
Yes, I call my mom all the time to make sure she's doing okay. And even though we're all busy, we all have crazy hours, we manage to stay close and communicate.
Does Amber stay in touch and watch her mother since she's become a police officer?
Yes, she'll just show up to her house unexpected to make sure she is stocked up on medications for her health issues and bring her little thoughtful gifts for no reason.
Has she done the same with you?
She has. I recently fell at work about a month and a half ago, and I had blood all over my clothes, and she brought me a spare change of clothes, stopped off at Academy, and surprised me. She's like,
since the incident, September 6th, 2018, have you had a chance to observe your sister, how this has affected her?
it has affected her.
How would you say it's affected her?
She's doesn't have that same light or energy that she had before.
Have you seen your sister express remorse to you for having shot Botham John and taken his life?
Yes, she's expressed to me how she feels bad spending time with her family because he can't be with his.
You know your sister well. Does she seem genuine in her remorse?
she's one of the most genuine people you can ever meet, and I know those that know her would attest to that.
I'll pass it away to Sharon.
Thank you, Ms. Geiger. No questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Geiger.
Thank you.
The Honor will call Nancy Bishop.
Ms. Bishop, if you would, please raise your right hand on this form. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you very much.
Will you state your name, please, and spell your name for the court reporter?
Yes, Nancy Bishop, Nancy Bishop.
Ms. Bishop, how are you related to Amber Geiger?
I am Amber's aunt.
On which side of the family are you?
Karen is my sister.
Is she older or younger sister?
I'm the older sister.
Okay. And where do you currently live? What city?
I live in Austin.
Okay. Did you used to live here in the Metroplex?
Yes, I lived in Dallas and Oak Cliff for 11 years.
Okay.
Lived there as a child and came back.
Okay. And did you, were you living in the Dallas area when Amber was a young child?
Yes.
Did you have occasions to meet with the family and be around Amber on many occasions when she was growing up?
From the day she was born.
Okay. Could you describe to the jury what kind of child Amber was?
Very loving. I mean, I don't think she ever closed a conversation without saying that, I love you, very caring and just very affectionate. I love being around her because she, just has this wonderful spirit, where she can, get to know everybody easily, having so much positive energy.
Has she always been that way as she grew up? And
Always, yeah.
How was she with her family, her mother and her sister?
The same way. I mean, she would stay and, go over there almost weekly or every other week, as busy as she was. She would do things like take her mother to the zoo, even if it was 100 degrees, always doing things for her family.
And did you know about Amber's desire to be a police officer?
Yes. I knew that's what she was studying for. She was very dedicated to that was her ultimate goal.
Did that worry you after she became a police officer?
Oh, of course.
Did you express that?
Because yes, because I know the area that she chose to work in, was very dangerous and would be difficult.
Did Amber want to, that didn't seem to bother Amber?
No, she said she wanted to be where she could be most effective.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. That's all the questions I have, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. No questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
It should be excused, right?
Oh, of course.
No objections from the state.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop.
Next one,
Yes.
call Officer Odhiambo.
Officer, if you would, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Could you please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record?
My name is Cathy Odhiambo. I go by Kate. Cathy, and my last name is Odhiambo.
And how are you employed?
I am employed with the City of Dallas.
And in what capacity with the city of Dallas?
I'm a police officer
And how long have you been a police officer?
for 6 years.
And do you know the woman sitting 2 seats to my right? Do you know who that is?
Yes, that's my friend,
And what's her name?
Amber Guyger.
How long have you known Miss Geiger?
I have known her for over 10 years.
And how did you and Miss Geiger first meet?
We first met at TGI Fridays. We used to work at the airport at TGI Fridays. She had just transferred, was picking up shifts. She had just transferred from a TGI Fridays in Arlington. So she came through and we clicked instantly.
And as y'all, you worked together with her at TGI Fridays, were y'all both going to school to pursue your degrees?
Yes, we clicked instantly because we realized we went to the same high school and we realized we were going to the same college, which was UT Arlington at the time. And we just clicked. It was...
And can you, at some point, you weren't majoring to be a police officer?
No, at the time when I met her, I was a business major at UT Arlington. She always wanted to be a police officer. Everybody around her knew that was her dream from when she was a little girl. That was all. For me, police officer came about later on in life. But for her, that was all she ever wanted, all she ever dreamed of.
And you eventually decided to go the police officer route, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you did that, you joined the Dallas Police Department before Amber did, correct?
I sure did.
And have you ever worked together with her as a police officer?
No, we were not lucky to work together. We were together at the academy. I was towards the end of my academy, and she was just beginning. So we were there briefly for about 6 months together. She was a few classes behind me. I never worked with her in the streets because we went to different stations.
You're in the southwest sector of Dallas, and she was in the southeast, correct?
Yes, sir.
But did you continue to maintain your friendship and your bond?
Absolutely. We were always friends. We had similar backgrounds. We worked as servers for 5-6 years together while we were going to school. So we always kept in touch, encouraged each other. She knows my whole family. I know her family, my kids.
What is her personality like?
Amber, she cares. She's so caring, selfless, thinks about others before herself. She's kind. She's good to people. She's the sweetest girl. Everybody who knows her knows that Amber is the sweetest person.
And has she always been willing to help you?
Absolutely. I can give a scenario. I remember, and she probably doesn't remember this until now. I was pregnant at the time, and I bought a crib and changing table all the way in Frisco, and I live in Mansfield area. And I know people with trucks, but I asked her to help me. I was like, "Hey, Amber, you think you can help me with your truck?" And she was like, "No, I'm gonna drive you there." So she drives all the way. She used to live in Forney, and she drove all the way from Forney to Mansfield area to pick me up so we can drive all the way to Frisco to pick up this crib and changing table. And that's just the kind of person she is. And on the way back, we didn't strap the changing table properly, and it flew off the highway, and we were driving and realized it's missing. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, we gotta go back." And she's like, "That could cause an accident, somebody could get hurt." So we circle back, we come back on the highway, and this was 161, and everybody knows 161, people drive past 70 miles an hour. And we circle back, and we see it in the middle of the highway, and she parks on the side of the highway, and I want to go run for it because it's my changing table. And she's like, "Oh, no, you're pregnant. You can't run for that." And this girl just dashes in the middle of the highway and grabs the changing table and brings it out of the highway, and there were cars coming through. And she just really did not want somebody to, have an accident without changing table on the highway. And that's the kind of person she is. And I can tell more stories. And there's been instances where I'm like, hey, Amber, I need you to pick me up from the doctor's office. I don't have anybody. And she would drop things just to be there and pick me up from the doctor's office because I couldn't.
So, throughout your relationship with Amber, you developed a strong bond, and she's always been there for you, correct?
She's always been there for me. She's a friend I can talk to. I call her when I'm having difficulties. She's that friend because she listens to you, and she cares about my kids, and she's around my family. And this is a girl that I love as a friend. She's been good to me all my life, all the time that I've known her, not all my life, all the time I've known her.
Thank you, Officer Odhiambo. I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
May she be excused.
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Call Rhonda Richardson.
So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Make yourself comfortable.
Could you please state your first and last name and spell them for the court reporter?
My name is Rhonda Richardson, R-H-O-N-D-A. Last name is R-I-C-H-E-S-O-N.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed with the Dallas Police Department.
And what is your current position?
Currently, I'm a detective in the robberies division.
And how long have you been with the Dallas Police Department?
20 years.
And at some point in your career, were you a field training officer assigned to the Southeast substation?
Yes, sir, I was. I worked at Southeast for 15 years, and 9 of that I was a field training officer.
And can you tell them, just briefly, very briefly, can you just tell members of the jury what a field training officer?
Absolutely. Yes, the field training officers, when a recruit comes out of the academy, and we all go through this, we spend about 6 months with a trainer. It's broken up in 3 phases, and then the last phase is 4th phase, where we sit with a recruit after the 3 phases, after they've gone through it, and we let them try to be on their own, just to see if they're going to be able to make it out on the streets.
And they don't want to just let police officers go straight from the academy. You want senior officers that give them guidance and on-the-job training in sometimes tense, dramatic, dangerous situations, correct?
Absolutely. When they're riding with trainers, they're a police officer. I mean, that's what they're doing, and we're answering the same calls, the dangerous calls and the not so dangerous calls, but they're learning right besides the senior officers.
And did you have the opportunity to train the woman sitting 2 seats from me, Amber Guyger?
Absolutely.
What phase of training you had her for?
I do. I had her for 4th phase training.
And what does that mean?
Again, you have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. You start with the phase 1 and you just progress. You progress on the calls that you take and all that. By the time you get to 4th phase, you should be, as a recruit, you should be working on your own, being able to find out the answers that you might not know to the calls that you go to. We go to all different types of calls. I'm there, a 4th phase trainer is there to help, to assist, but we want to make sure that when she gets, or when the officer gets out on the street, that they know what they're doing.
And just describe what your impression of was Amber Guyger during the time that you were training her.
Amber came to me ready to be out on the streets. It was a pleasure to train her, or to sit with her. The first few days, I made sure I was there to help her out and stuff like that. I acted as a trainer. But the rest of the 2.5 weeks that I had her, I told her, I said, you're ready. You're ready to get out there and do this job. Let's just be partners now. So we acted like partners. We answered calls together, two-man, the dangerous calls, and she did fantastic.
And like any rookie, there are mistakes that are made, correct?
Yes, sir. There's mistakes made by all of us.
And did she take direction and criticism well?
Amber always took criticism very well, yes.
And then, while, once she left training, did she stay in the southeast and you were still in patrol at the same time, correct?
Yes. Once she left me, she went to Little T and rode with another senior officer, which is normal. And then I went on and started training somebody else.
And did she continue in your interactions and seeing her continue to be a hard worker for the Dallas Police Department?
That's all I ever heard from the other officers that were riding with her.
Now, you're in eventually you left patrol and you're now a robbery detective, correct?
Yes, yes.
And were you investigating some of the robberies that were connected to the operation on September 6th?
Yes, I was.
And we've heard a lot about it, so I'm not going to repeat, but as a robbery detective, do you depend on the CRT teams in the different sectors of Dallas to help run operations to apprehend these dangerous felons?
Absolutely.
And did you see Amber that day?
I did.
Was she out there on the scene or back at headquarters?
I was on the scene, and she was on the scene, but she was a ways away from me, so I didn't see her at the scene, no. I mean, I saw her, but I didn't talk to her.
I will pass the witness.
No question, Your Honor.
This officer be excused.
No objection.
No objection from the case.
Thank you, Detective Richardson.
Thank you, ma'am.
Call Officer McPherson.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Make yourself comfortable. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Would you please state your name and spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Thomas McPherson, Thomas. McPherson is MacPherson.
And how are you employed?
I'm employed by the City of Dallas
And what capacity?
as a police officer.
And where are you currently assigned?
I'm currently assigned to the Dallas SWAT team.
And that's the tactical unit that is used for, dynamic, dangerous operations, correct?
Yes, that would be a correct description of it. We run most of our narcotic warrants, and we handle barricaded person or active shooter situations.
Officer McPherson, do you know the woman sitting 2 seats to my right, Amber Geiger?
Yes, it's my friend Amber Geiger.
And how long have you known Miss Geiger?
I've known Amber almost 6 years now.
And where did you and Miss Geiger meet?
We were in the same academy class.
And did you quickly bond?
Yes, we did.
After leaving the academy, were you both assigned to the southeast section of Dallas?
Yes, we were. We were assigned to the same substation after training, or after we got done with the academy and on to training.
And did you and Miss Geiger were both in the patrol section, correct?
That is correct.
And did you get the occasion to work with her on numerous occasions?
Yes, we worked the same shift, so we would answer calls together, or we would be in the same detail. So yes, I got a lot of interaction with Amber.
And did you like working with her? Did you feel safe being out on the streets with Amber?
Absolutely. Yeah, Amber was someone that you could depend on.
On July 7th, 2016, were you and Ms. Geiger working?
Yes, we were. We were working night shift at the time, but we had come in early, to work some overtime, some call answering overtime, and we were on a different call when we heard the officer assist come out.
And when you heard the officer assist come out, where did you go?
Amber actually heard it first, and she grabbed me and said that we need to go. There's something going on downtown, and at that point there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of confusion, but we knew that we needed to go down, and so we drove from Pleasant Grove down to Central, which is where everything was going on.
Central, which is downtown Dallas?
Yes, correct, yes.
And when you got to, did you get too close to El Centro College? Was that seemed to be the focus of the activity?
Yes, that is correct. We drove as close as we could. Obviously, there was a lot of cars, a lot of squad cars, so we pulled up as close as we could to El Centro, and from there, we were getting out of the car, and we're continuing to hear gunshots, and I distinctly remember Amber being so brave, and I was driving, she was in the passenger seat, and she was just ready to go. She told me, let's go, and we were downtown for the whole night until about 6 o'clock that morning.
Let me stop you
Yep.
there, Officer McPherson. You so when you got to the scene and you could hear the gunshots, did y'all stay back or did you run towards where the gunshots were coming from?
No, we ran towards where the gunshots were going.
And along the way, did you have to help or assist any citizens or other people trying to get them out of the way of any potential harm?
Yes, that's correct. We were trying to move as close as we could to the gunfire, and obviously with all the panic and pandemonium, we were trying to get as many citizens either to stay low in their cars or just keep running away from everything because we just, like I said, we were still trying to figure out what was going on, but the citizens didn't need to be anywhere near there.
And since that time, you worked with Ms. Geiger in patrol and in the CRT unit, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And was she always a hard worker and someone who always had your back?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind.
And you're still good friends with her today, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
I'll pass the witness.
Just briefly, Officer McPherson?
Yes, ma'am.
The CRT unit, you said y'all are a close-knit group?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, you all had like a text thread that you all would respond to each other on.
Yes, ma'am.
And in that text thread, was there some discourse about the supervision over your unit, your close-knit unit that you just discussed?
Yeah, I mean, we would always talk about, our group, or we would talk about what was going on that day. Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, not only the group, but just also the supervisors that's over your group.
Correct, yes.
And so, is it fair to say that some of you all were close-knit versus that the entire group was a close-knit group?
No, I would say that we were all close-knit. I would, in my opinion, that would be a correct statement.
In that group of text messages, you all referred to someone as Tubby. Is that correct?
Yes.
Objection of relevance.
I see you over here. I don't have a problem with them coughing, I was just trying to offer them a minute if they needed it. I know how hard it is to suppress a cough. Okay. Ms. Long, I'm gonna allow you, because I'm trying to figure out if what it is you're intending or where it is you're trying to go is relevant. So I'm going to allow you to ask questions so we can get a proffer of where it is you're trying to go and not have to be whispering over here to the side.
And so what I'm trying to get to is, Officer McPherson, a few weeks ago, you met with us, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And you talked about how, and we asked you during that meeting about the set of text messages that you all, the CRT has a text thread that you all exchange communications through, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in that text thread, you all talk about, amongst multiple things, your day, and you also talk about the supervision that you all are experiencing within the CRT.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And in fact, you all, including the defendant, have made comments about, or I should say derogatory comments about the supervision within your supervisor in particular.
Okay.
Is that, am I making this up or is that true?
No, I'm not. No, you're not making it. You're not making it up. No.
Okay. And so, when we talk about Ms. Geiger, the defendant, being, you know, a hard worker and respectful and all these other things, I mean, there are some times that it's not as respectful as you just displayed to that jury.
Okay. Well,
Is that a yes or no statement?
could you repeat the question, please, just because? Yeah.
For clarification.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You just displayed to this jury that she was a respectful person and she respected others, and I said has been times where she has not been as respectful of the individuals that supervise her, and then other individuals either with Dallas Police Department and or in the community.
Okay. Yes, that's correct. But it's not just a yes or no question either. You know. Would I be able to explain myself, ma'am? Is that okay?
Well, I'm sure he'll let you expound on what you want to talk about. And in fact, you talked about her getting out there and trying to help citizens and responding to the crisis in which the city was facing on that July 7th evening.
Yes.
And are you aware of the text messages that she sent about pepper spraying the citizens during the MLK parade?
No, ma'am.
And if she said something like that, would that shock you?
I would say it'd be out of character.
And would it also, have she ever mentioned to you, or are you aware that she's mentioned about the work ethic of different officers of different ethnicities?
No, she hasn't. We have not had any conversations about that.
And would it surprise you to know that she made a comment that I'm not racist, but we just work kind of different?
It would sound out of character for her.
Your Honor, that's the line of questioning I wish to pursue.
Do you have objections? Or do you have any questions?
Could I clarify a few things, Judge?
Yes.
So the prosecutor talked about these derogatory, disrespectful, awful comments that were made about your supervisor. Do you remember, did someone call him in a text thread Tubby?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone call that to him to his face?
No, I don't believe so.
Was there any did anyone not follow the sergeant's orders because they made a comment that they called him Tubby on the text thread?
No, sir.
All right, so that's the derogatory comment about the sergeant, correct?
From my understanding, yes.
All right. And the other comments, you're not aware of those, you aren't part of those text conversations, correct?
No, sir.
Do you have anything else, Ms. Long?
Well, the defense attorney asked you, did y'all not follow his instructions? But there were moments in the CRT, at least according to the text thread, that you all did not always follow his instructions. Is that fair to say?
I mean, there's a lot of text messages, ma'am, so it's hard to say, I don't know what you're trying to get at, though. Could you explain a little bit more, please?
He used the word always. Always means just that, always. All the time.
Okay.
Did you always, all the time, follow everything you, the defendant, it was 5 of you all on that team, correct? Rivera,
Yes, ma'am.
Mark Rivera, all of you all. Did you always follow all the instructions that was given to you by that certain supervisor?
You can't say always. I think this is too much of a define, of a solid, because I think there's just a multiplicity of decisions and stuff like that are made throughout the time that we were there.
If that's fair. I'm not saying always. That was the word came from that place.
So let me be clear. You want the jury to hear that in the CRT's text thread, which included all of the persons working on the team, with the exception of the supervisor, there were derogatory comments about the supervisor, specifically calling him Tubby, and derogatory comments about his supervision.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your objection is?
Because it's not relevant to the issue at hand and the moral culpability of.
I'll sustain your objection. We won't go into her having referenced her supervisor as, well, I don't know if it was her or just a text thread, referencing the supervisor as Tubby, or criticizing his supervisory style. Is there anything more that we need from Officer McPherson?
And asking him about the questions about the text message from the MLK.
Was he on that thread?
I don't believe, well,
No, it was not.
Your Honor, I think it's a question to ask about her character, because that's what he's been talking about.
So you want to ask him if it was out of character for her to have described
Pepper spraying the public when he just talked about her trying to save the public?
Well,
I think you all have those text threads in evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
So in as much as he was not on the text thread, I will not allow you to ask him about that question.
Okay.
They're in evidence. Can you ask her to bring the jury back? Mr. Rogers, I'm not trying.
3 more minutes.
Okay. We'll probably keep it. Are you okay with this?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you. You all may be seated.
Thank you. Madam.
Yes, please.
Officer McPherson, is it fair to say that you're not with the defendant all times of the day?
Yes, that's correct.
Is it fair to say that you don't know what type of communications that she had with anybody other than with you?
That would be correct.
So you don't know what her character is, only what her character is with you and what you've seen?
Well, that's the only thing I can testify to, yes, what I've seen from her. Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Nothing further.
May he be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you very much, officer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chavez.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Could you tell us your name, please, and spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Yeah, Maribel Chavez, M-A-R-I-B as in boy, E-L-C-H-A-V-E-Z.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Where do you work?
I'm a retail store manager.
Do you know Amber Guyger?
Yes.
How long have you known her?
14 years or so.
Can you tell the jury about when y'all met?
Yeah. It was 9th grade. I started in the orchestra there, and that's where we met.
Did y'all become friends pretty quickly?
Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit your friendship?
Yeah, she's, Amber's a very engaging person. She's very bubbly. Her energy's attracting. People just want to be around her.
Did y'all both play in orchestra in high school?
Yes.
And did y'all end up also performing in a mariachi band together?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
My 10th grade year in high school, our high school band director started a mariachi group. So I was so involved in extracurriculars that day, I happened to have nothing to do. So I said, okay, let me join the group. So I started playing, and Amber was playing with us, and she played violin when we started. She played trumpet with us too, and we took that after high school as well.
And were you aware of what type of career Amber was interested in?
She wanted to go into law enforcement.
And why was that?
She's just, she's always wanted to take care of people, and she's a people person.
Yes.
Ms. Chavez, I want to show you two pictures that have been marked as defendant's exhibit number 97. Is this a picture of you and Amber together with the other members of the mariachi band?
Yes.
And the same with defendant's exhibit number 98?
Yes.
Dr. Abisada, 98.
Both admitted may be published.
Thank you, Judge. What kind of relationship did all of you that played in the mariachi band have?
We were like sisters. Through high school, it was a really big group. When we graduated high school, we started our an all-female mariachi group. It was sisterhood. We were just really close.
In this photo, defendant's exhibit number 97, this is Amber here in the middle?
Yes.
And this is you over here on the right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then another photo, defendant's exhibit number 98. Is this you to the left of Amber?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Chavez, what kind of person is Amber Geiger?
She's a protector. Anytime we've taken trips just to visit different cities, different states, she's always been the one to take care of us. She's very selfless. She's very caring. She just has a lot of love to give.
Ms. Chavez, a few weeks after the shooting on September 6, 2018, did you have an opportunity to see Amber?
Yes.
Can you explain what her demeanor was like?
She was very, it's like if you shut her light off. She's a very extroverted person. She loves people. But when I did get a chance to see her, it wasn't her. And she would go into her moments where she'd kind of try to chip her up, and then she just kind of fall right back.
Can you explain for the jury the remorse that you've seen from her?
She's had immense remorse. Amber has a lot of love to give, but Amber doesn't, even prior to this, Amber, I don't feel like, feels like she's worthy of love. That she's not worthy of a big love. So this happened, and she just does not feel like she deserves to have any kind of happiness. And anytime she even gets close to even like a smile, she kind of reverts back.
Why is it that she feels like she doesn't deserve to
She
smile?
feels remorseful, immense remorse.
Do you know what she's relied on this past year to deal day to day with what had happened?
Her family, her friends, faith. I don't really remember Amber being a person of faith through high school. And up until a couple years ago, I would say probably when she did join the force, she started looking into that, and then that's just really what's kept her up, and her puppy.
So when she started with the academy is when you feel like her faith started to grow at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
May she be excused?
No, that's fine.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chavez.
Judge, the defense would call Brenda Salas.
Ms. Salas, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Could you tell us your name, please, and spell your last name for the court reporter?
Brenda Salas, S-A-L-A-S,
How old are you, Ms. Salas?
29.
Can you tell the members of the jury how you know Amber Geiger?
It's my best friend.
How long have you known her?
Since the 7th grade.
Where were y'all in school that you met?
Carter Junior High.
Can you tell the members of the jury how it was that you two became friends?
We met in orchestra. I didn't have any classes with Amber. I was the orchestra teacher. She would open the orchestra room for us as a safe place. Orchestra students, orchestra players sort of have a nickname for themselves. We're called Orc Dorks. She would open up the room as a safe place, and during this time, my family and I were going through some really hard times. I felt like I was alone. Like, I couldn't talk to anybody about any of this stuff, and Amber was there to listen to me.
You mentioned that the orchestra teacher would open that room up for y'all as a safe place.
Yes.
Were you and Amber and some of the other kids somewhat bullied during that time?
Yeah.
Have you stayed close friends with Amber through high school and through college years and on?
Through high school. Again, didn't have any classes with her except for orchestra, and her and I were always usually in just around the same section. So her and I would, for the most part, or from time to time, share stands. So we would be together in there. Other than orchestra, I didn't have any other class or any other place where I would see her, but we still stayed in touch. After high school, I went to UTA and kind of lost contact with a lot of my friends, Amber and Maribel being two of them. I was just focused on my studies. Maribel and I saw her again, and we sort of reconnected. We picked up right where we left off, and she would always surprise me and bring Amber, and that to me was always the best gift that anyone could give me, because she just has this light about her.
You mentioned that there was a period of time when you were really focused on your studies. What did you end up graduating with?
My degree is in exercise science.
And did you do undergraduate?
I did undergrad, and then I got my master's from LSU in Shreveport. I think it was May of 2018.
Was Amber there at your graduation?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked as defendant's exhibits number 99 and 100. Do you recognize these as photos of you and Amber and Maribel from junior high and then also from later in life?
Yes.
You'd offer defendant's exhibits 99 and 100. No objection, Your Honor.
They're both admitted.
Motion to publish, Judge?
Yes.
Defendant's exhibit 99. That's you on the right in the purple shirt,
Yes.
and Maribel in the middle,
Yes.
and then Amber on the left, is that
Yes.
right? And the three of you have stayed close friends up until this day, is that right?
Yes.
And that's exhibit 100. Is that you in the middle,
Yes.
and Amber's on the left,
Yes.
and Maribel's on the right?
Yes.
Where were y'all in this picture?
We went to Chicago. We went for the Rangers versus Cubs game. No, with it, yeah.
Ms. Salas, can you describe what kind of person Amber is to this jury?
She's a loving person, very caring, silly.
And how has that person that you know, that personality, how has that changed since September 6th, 2018?
I love her because of her silliness and the fact that she can always make us laugh. And after the horrible incident, I feel like she has to try harder to be that person, and it's still, it's not there anymore. She's not Amber anymore.
What kind of remorse have you seen from her regarding this incident?
So much. The last time that I saw her, she just told me that she just wanted to say sorry to his family.
No questions, Your Honor.
Yes, you do, Susan?
No objection from the state.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Salas.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the defense would call Lawanda Clark.
Please raise your right hand and sworn. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give, excuse me, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Could you state your first and last name, please, and spell both for the court reporter?
Lawanda Clark. L-A capital W-A-N-D-A C-L-A-R-K.
And how old of a woman are you, Ms. Clark?
I am 67 years old.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many kids do you
I
have?
have 3 living.
3 living children right now?
Yeah.
Do you have grandkids as well?
Yes, I do.
How many grandkids?
I have 9.
I'm sorry?
9.
9 grandkids. And do you currently work?
Yes, I do. I'm employed at Walgreens, and I'm also working at the State Fair of Texas.
Do you know Amber Geiger?
Yes, I do.
Throughout your adulthood, have you struggled with a crack cocaine addiction?
I have.
In May of 2017, how was it that you came to know Amber Geiger?
I was at a drug house that day, and the police came and made us all come out. And I didn't see Amber as a policewoman that day, as a policeman at all. I saw Amber as a human being. You know, she kept coming to me, and she told me, she said, "You don't fit the profile." You know, she said, "What are you doing here?" You know, and she came back to me several times, you know, saying things similar to that. In other words, she let me know that I mattered. You know, that she just didn't see me as an addict, you know. And as time went on, you know, and it ended up that day, and she wrote the ticket. She said, "Now you can do one or two things with this ticket." She said, "You can either continue on the road that you're on, or you can let this be your ticket out." And that's what I chose to do.
So that day, how many people were in that house with you?
About 8 to 10.
And before the police arrived, were y'all all using drugs?
Yes.
And you say that Amber mentioned y'all got tickets, and she talked about this ticket is either 2 things you can do, either keep using drugs or use it as a ticket for life to start over.
Right.
So y'all got issued Class C tickets, is that right?
Right.
And that was for drug paraphernalia that was visible to the officers? Is that right?
That's right.
And where did you have to go with that ticket?
With that ticket, I went to the South Dallas Community Court, where they had a program set up. And I had like so many tickets. My life had become a disaster. So I started the program there, and I started to live again. I did my IOP, I did my SOP, and the first time that I phased up in that program was the first time in a long time that I felt like I made an accomplishment.
Did you end up graduating from that program?
Yes, I did. And Amber came to my graduation.
Approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Clark, I want to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit number 101. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Is that a photo of you and Amber from your graduation from
Yes,
that
it is.
community drug program?
Yes.
Call for defense 101.
No objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clark, how did it make you feel that day that Amber took the time to visit with you and ask you what was going on in your life that caused you to end up at that dope house?
It made me feel so human. It really empowered me that day. It really made me feel like, it really made me stop and think, you know, really, what am I doing here?
Did
You know,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Did any of the other officers who were there pull anybody else aside and visit with
I don't
you?
know if they did. I don't know if they did.
You
I
just-
mean, I was in such a state. You know, I'm thinking of, what is this going to do to my family? You know, if this goes in a bad direction. I was so ashamed, is what it was. You know, so I really don't know what else is going on. I just wanted it to be over. Let me go. You know, and I sat there on the porch and I prayed, you know, and I asked God, I said, if you let me get out of this, I'm done. And I have not gone back.
And that was your day of sobriety?
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yes, indeed.
And your graduation from that drug program, that picture that we see in Defense 101, that was a kind of a restart of life for you in a way, is that right?
Yes, it was.
And that was the day that you, in fact, sought out having Amber come there, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, how did that work?
Well, I asked when I was coming up for graduation, I asked Judge Williams if I could have the police officer that wrote me the ticket come to my graduation, because I wanted her to know what an impact she made on my life. You know what I mean?
And what was the reaction that Amber had at your
Oh, she was elated. I don't know who was more excited, if it was her or if it was me. You know, just to know that I made it. You know, that I really did take that ticket as my ticket out. You know, and recovery is in my life every day. I have my family back. I have my children back. I have my grandchildren. I have a life now. I'm gainfully employed. You know, I have an automobile. I have a place to live. You know, bills are paid. Credit score is going up. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. After the shooting on September 6th of 2018, did you try to reach out to Amber?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I went to community court and I asked Officer Joe, you know, because I would go there and I speak. I'd go over there and I'd do a little mentoring now. And they all met me at the door and they said, well, I know you heard about Amber, but it didn't affect me, I think, the way that they thought it would. But they all rallied around me, so I would get cards and different things and send them to Amber to, you know, lift her up and let her know that I loved her. You know, because, I mean, she's a human being. You know, at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day, she's still a human being.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. I'll pass the witness.
Ms. Clark, congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you, thank you.
May she be excused.
No objection from the state.
Thank you very much, Ms. Clark.
Can we approach, Judge?
We're gonna take your lunch break. You heard my phone that was them telling me they were late. They said they'd be here about this time. So we're gonna take your lunch break. We'll start back at 1:30.
All right.
Or a break for lunch, I guess. I'm sorry. We don't have anything for that.
So what time is it?
1:30.
Yes, ma'am.